Portra 400 is widely considered the best colour film stock. Most professionals use it, especially for its accurate colour rendition and its ability to capture skin tones successfully. It's no secret that I've not always been the biggest fan of Kodak Portra 400. I find it quite desaturated, and often I tend to opt for a little bit more saturation in my work. So in recent months, I've really preferred film stocks like Kodak's Gold 200, which I've done loads of reviews on the channel about so far. But you know, as the summer draws to an end and we start to have a little bit less light, it's more difficult to use a 200 speed film stock. You need a couple of extra stops of light, especially when you're working in, you know, the weather and the lighting conditions that the UK has. So as the low light months come in, it's time for me to revert back to 400 speed film stocks. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at 3 of the most popular, most commonly used colour film stocks available. So we're going to be looking at Kodak's Portra 400, we're going to be looking at Lomography's Colour Negative 400, and we're going to be looking at the recently discontinued Fuji Pro 400H. I've looked at all 3 of these film stocks previously on the channel, you know, independently, but also comparing them to one another. But never have I done a shoot with the same model, all 3 film stocks in the similar kind of lighting conditions. So this video is going to be an easier way for me to directly compare the 3 film stocks. So firstly, let's take a look at Portra 400. So Portra 400 is often characterized by fine grain, low saturation. It's great for having a broad exposure latitude, accurate colors, natural skin tones, and it's a really versatile film stock. It's also simple to work with and quite forgiving since it has such good exposure latitude. For me, a con, maybe the only con for Portra 400 is that it can be a little bit less vibrant, especially if you're overexposing the film stock, which I tend to do often in my own work. Next up, Lomography Colour Negative 400. This film stock is previously one of my favourite colour film stocks, although I haven't really been using it that much recently. It's characterised again by fine grain, but also its vibrancy. It's a very vibrant film stock, more similar to something like Kodak Gold. It's great for natural skin tones yet again, and vibrant colours, its versatility, and just like Portra 400, it is really, you know, simple to work with and forgiving. So if you're a beginner, then it's a great stock. For me, one of the cons are the way that it renders greens. So the greens tend to be, you know, a little bit too cold and artificial for me. And on that same note, that leads me quite nicely onto Fuji's Pro 400H. So Fuji Pro 400H is a firm favourite for a lot of photographers. For me, I've never quite found my way with it. I've not really loved it in the same way that other photographers have before me. So Fuji Pro 400H is characterised by its distinctive green cast. It renders greens quite specifically, and it also tends to have a green cast in the shadows. It is known for its pastel tones and being quite cool in colour. So this makes it great for, you know, more stylized images, things that you don't want to look necessarily like exact renditions of real life. Again, it has a really broad exposure latitude, meaning it is great for beginners, it's simple to use and very forgiving. You know, when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about it unlike film stocks like, you know, maybe slide film, Exochrome, those kind of film stocks. In terms of cons, for me, I find skin tones to be a bit hit and miss on Fuji Pro 400H, and that is mostly due to the fact that it does have this quite intense, you know, green cast in some areas. I find that the skin can look a little bit desaturated, and when it does go a little bit, you know, more towards the green end of the spectrum, not very lifelike. So overall, from my personal experiences, I'd have to rank Fuji Pro 400H at the bottom of the list. Whilst it's still a nice film stock to use, I find that every time I do shoot it, I end up editing it, making it warmer, and trying to kind of look a little bit more accurate and less stylized, which kind of defeats the object of using this particular film stock. Whilst I know that a lot of photographers adore 400H and make amazing work with 400H, it's just not to my personal taste. And I personally prefer the accuracy and the color warmth and rendition that, you know, Lomography's Colour Negative 400 and Kodak Portra 400 brings. So which one takes the crown for me? You know, it's a difficult one. In the past, I've preferred Lomo's 400, but as I use Portra more often, it's definitely growing on me. So for this one, I think that it will have to be a tie. Let me know what you think of all three film stocks in the description. Which one's your favorite and which one do you prefer using? But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.